Hi, my name is Tanisha. I'm better known as Miss Peer, K-I-R, keeping it real. And the president of the Writers Block, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Writers Block last open mic for the year. Hopefully, the rest of the people that wants to come will be here within the next 10-15 minutes. I would first like to start by not only welcoming you all here, but to, as part of the Writers Block tradition, to read some of the celebrities' birthdays. Since we didn't have a Writers Block open mic in October, I'll read the October one. And for October birthdays, we have Gandhi, Johnny Cochran, Gwen Stefani, Al Sharpton, India Irene, Chubby Checker, Ashley Simpson, Bernie Mac, Grant Hill, Tony Braxton, Simon Cowell from what's that show? Forgot the name, but also Nick Buchanan, Desmond Tutu, Jesse Jackson, Bruno Mars, Eddie Guerrero, Ben Verini, Elias Funk, Maya, MC Light, Marion Jones, Ashanti, Beverly Johnson, Tisha Campbell Morton, Shirley Caesar, Usher, Vincent Martella, as Phineas and Ferb, Keisha Cole, Eric Benet, Kim Wayans, Eminem, Wyclef, Mae Jameson, Howard Rollins, Neo, Chuck Berry, Wynton Marsalis, Evander Holyfield, Omar Gooding, Kelly Riper, George Spanky McFarlane, and Donna Cameron. And that is the October celebrity birthdays. I'd like to shout out the members of Writers Block that couldn't be here today. Hopefully they'll be here January for the Writers Block 4th year anniversary, which will be DJ'd by Faye Robinson's grandson David. What's his name? DJ Phenomenon. He's really good. So it'll be a big feast in January in honor of the Writers Block 4th year anniversary celebration, and he'll be DJing there. And shout out to his grandmother who couldn't be here. And Deborah, the dictator Cheney, who, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be hosting the Writers Block open mic. So I want to shout her out. She's with us in spirit. And now for the first person to go up, Writers Block member Jacquees Armstrong.
Hi, I'm Jacquees. This time of year is so full of just being with family and everything, so I picked out two poems about family that I have in my chapbook labeled Family. The first is called The Drive Down South. This is about every Christmas we would go down south and we would drive. It would be like a 13-hour drive, and you know the story. The drive down south. My mom always fixed a lunch, and before we got out the driveway, pass me a sandwich, please. And everything was just fine before my brother came when I was 7. After he got old enough, it was, Jock has her foot on my side. He has a finger on my side. He's moving his hand above my leg, and on a 13-hour trip. I know my parents never looked forward to. And then my dad would pop in the B.B. King 8-track. As a child, I cringed. Caledonia, Caledonia, what makes your big head so hard? I guess the only halfway sane one was my mom, the quintessential parent, who in retrospect had the patience of a saint. Thank you. This next poem is about mainly my father's side of the not very PC, so if you're squeamish, close your ears. I am not a vegetarian. I eat meat. I enjoy eating meat. I come from a long line of carnivorous souls. I remember the smell of homemade sausage, original Kyle's recipe. Michael, she never said Michael. Go get me that pig. My brother, only 6, obeyed with no thought. I never watched the process, only enjoyed the aftermath and the smell. The smell of collard greens cooked with pork, green beans cooked with pork, lima beans cooked with pork, and of course pork cooked with pork. Of course I'm being facetious, we ate other things. But it's funny how you remember smells, like the smell of the fireplace after the fire's gone out, and the cold, damp Alabama air, only shielded by quilts pieced together by the hands that made the sausage, picked and shelled pecans for the whole entire family, cleaned other people's houses. And I had this picture of my granddaddy on my dream board, sitting on the porch on his farm in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, in a sport jacket and hat, what I call country cool, like a Delta bluesman in between sets, days I won't see anymore. They're all gone now, have been for a while, tragically the end of an era. And now I'm the second oldest generation. Wonder what they'll write about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanisha. And a big happy birthday to Tanisha right here. She's one of the November birthdays she didn't mention. That's right. Again, my name is Angel. Just some information for the Writers Writing Poetry Collective, long-time brother network of the Writers Block Poetry Collective. It's always a pleasure and honor to be right here on this crowd in Brunswick, New Jersey, the city of poetry. And among other things, just want to share some other work we've been doing, just a lot of collaborating, just spreading conscious of the word. Writers Rising, we've been together for 18 years come December. Thank you. So myself and Carl's will be representing the Writers Rising today. We hope to share some more words with you. And we know we'll be sharing many more times with Writers Block. And it's been a wonderful collaboration since it's almost a decade, actually, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Almost a decade, okay. And also we take the international and work with such groups as the People's Art Network based in the Philippines. And you have to always communicate with people around the world. If you have poetry that's conscious, you always want to take people around the world and be ready to do that. And I want to give a big shout out to the Japanese Armstrong for starting the show tonight. That's a strong way to start.
Thank you.
First poem I want to read, just the concept of just remembrance. An old friend of the Writers Rising Poetry Collective. And I first recited this poem actually for the African New Dawn program that Brother Albert Fair puts together right here on Rutgers State Radio. And it was for the Kwanzaa program one year. And just the night before we had found out actually that the wonderful professor, the distinguished Professor Dennis Bruce, had just passed on the first day of Kwanzaa. And I remember a lot of things about Professor Dennis Bruce, one of the great anti-apartheid fighters in South Africa. Well, he was forced into exile after serving his time in jail, fighting for the cause of the South African freedom fighters. And we meant to invite him one day to our poetry in New York. We had some trouble contacting him because he was back and forth, because he was a professor both in South Africa and in Pennsylvania and a few other places at the time. And we figured we couldn't catch him once, but we'll catch him eventually. We did. But before that happened, 3 in the morning, the phone rings. And I'm trying to figure out who was calling me 3 in the morning. I get the phone. Hello? Hello, this is Dennis Brutus calling from South Africa. And that was such a wonderful feeling that he wanted to pay us respect by calling us all over South Africa, and he couldn't make what he wanted to be joining us soon. And he did. And it was a real pleasure that he was with us. And I talked about this in this poem, 3 a.m. from the motherland. You could not join us then, but mercifully, we were there to see you again, dear friends, when you sat back with us and wrote your notes, taking pride in the presence of a young generation of poets among us. Acere, comrade, we listen to your words. How profound can a poet write a verse? Expressing joy at picking up a feather from the ground. And then you invited us to have refreshments, as you called our humble feast in your honor. Yet for all the wonders of seeing you, learning comrade, nothing for me I hold dear, the same as your wake-up call to me, a joyous start to that Friday morning. And thank you, Professor Dennis Bruce. I'll read one more poem and then we'll have a Father Clark come up and bring some more enlightenment for our remembrance. And speaking of remembrance, this is a poem I wrote from my experience going to London. We learned about this brother who led an uprising of workers, born in Jamaica and worked as a shoemaker in England. And this was in 1820, led a rebellion to overthrow the British monarchy at the time. And he was executed by hanging on May Day, May 1st, 1820. And there are people in London and England who celebrate the life of Brother William Davidson and for his workers' rebellion. And they call it the African May Day celebration. And as we know, May Day began celebrated as International Workers' Day, started in 1886 in Chicago, Illinois. Most people don't know that. It was right here in the United States, right here in Chicago. So this is African May Day, a search for our roots to Brother William Davidson, the Afro-Antillean martyr of May 1st. Here is the day to remember the power and the sacrifice of all who struggle for the workers' right to rest, and the right to bread, and the right to freedom. We salute you, Brother William, a proud black shoemaker, for your uprising far from your Afro-Caribbean shores. You caught the fire when working people cried starvation. The criminal lords let out innocents' blood. You gave your life in a war of hunger against hunger by the Thames. Chattel slavery, wage slavery, two evils to you under the banner of industrial slavery. To them we raise a fist of oppressed humanity, pointed toward that day that the first child is born in a world without chains.
Amen.
You know, I got about 3 little short poems, and this one is, it's called Mock View. I wrote this when I was in Baden Baden, Vermont. Climbing up the stairways towards the top of Wassersucker Mountain, surrounded with beautiful red leaves, as it spreads into the wonders of your very eyes, waterfalls, sunshines that glow in peace and harmony. From east to west, we salute Battenberg and Keenan, New Hampshire. At this perfect time, you hear the strong presence of melodies of Charlie Mingus play mystery in a victory chant, worthy of all praises at Mountain. The title of this one is called Afternoon. On this sunny afternoon on our annual ritual to the Glen Herd, this is in Yellow Springs, my college in which I went, my alumni, small little village in Ohio. Silence majestic of the deep woods, the everlasting hills, green valleys, as we circle the mound in joy. The gentle air of Yellow Springs, seeds of tomatoes, kale, cabbage, at the Antioch College farm. The continuous sounds of summer birds, pure rhythms of my favorite thing of John Coltrane's. Live like an old poetry legend and an endless laugh. Third, I dedicate this to Trevor Martin and many other people, in which I entitled it, "For the Many Murdered People Without Names and Trevor Martin." Many people have been killed, not just Trevor Martin. Let's hope that he gets justice, but it's continually, it comes on every day, and in every community throughout the United States, including Canada and everything, somebody, a young man is always killed, or he kills himself because of the stupidity of his self-hatred, for not having the knowledge of himself, and his parents not teaching him the knowledge of himself. That's the key right there. I don't only blame the devil in blue, but I blame those fathers and mothers who didn't even bother to teach them because they believe that they're Dracula. They don't believe that they are human. They don't believe in themselves. They don't even believe in the beauty when they look in the mirror and say, yes, I am beautiful and I am proud. I'm not Frankenstein. Because people told them that. I won't say who it is. I'll just say the devil in blue or whatever. For the many murdered without names, Trevor Martin, what kind of dog do you serve, Mr. Killer George Cinnamon? With your fake and your pride foul, for your crumbling foundations as you shred ice on your ancient beliefs. As Brother Minister Malcolm said, that they make the criminal look like he's the victim, and the victim cries out that they make him look like a criminal. They make the victim looks like that he's the criminal, and the criminals look down as that he's the innocent fool. You cry out loud in the American history book, 7 Days of Rainstorms. You could hear your brother, you could hear your son, your daughter, your mother, your sister, your grandmother, even your father. You could hear Sister Eleanor Bumpter and brother Antonio Bias in the Bronx 25 years ago. This poem doesn't finish. This work doesn't rest. Let us carry our message into the street with love in your heart and soul. Our voices must be heard. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. From the eyes of the spirit of the burning fist, this poem continues. It survives the double cross of war, injustice, unemployment. Our vision is for peace and justice. We carry our words to our brothers, to our sisters, to strangers, to friends, and the blue spirit, as monsters of all kinds, must be destroyed, and in unity and strength. Thank you very much.
One more time, Coswell Duflor, Artistic Director and Founder of the Brothers Rising Poetry Collective.
Thank you, Angel and Carlos, all the way from New York, the Brothers Rising Poetry Collective, Brother Network to Writers Blood. One more hand for them. Okay, I remember love that was found. I remember love that was lost. I remember the struggles. I remember the blessings. I remember tribulations. I remember triumphs. I remember strengths. I remember weakness. I remember kindness. I remember animosity. I remember compassion. I remember indifference. I remember generosity. I remember selfishness. I remember loyalty. I remember betrayal. I remember peace. I remember unrest. I remember resentment. I remember contentment. I remember failure. I remember achievement. I remember harmony. I remember chaos. I remember patience. I remember intolerance. I remember joy. I remember sorrow. I remember who I was. I know who I am. I remember where I'm from, and I know where I'm going. And that's I remember. By me, that's here. Next one. This one is called Tales from the Ghetto, part 1, because sometimes I talk to the streets. I remember one time, Deborah Cheney, can't remember who's not here. We were at Future Park, and we were on stage, and we were doing our poems, and nobody was paying any attention to us. We were walking around, we were getting ignored. So I said to King, I said, you know, I'm tired of these people ignoring us. I want to make them hear us. So I think this is the poem I read that got their attention. And this is called Tales from the Ghetto, Part 1. Actually there's 3 parts. There's Part 2 I did when MySpace was popular, and I did some other poems on there. And I call it the remix, because I figure if you could remix a hip-hop album, it's here to remix a poem. So if you hear anybody say they remixed a poem, they got it from me, just to let you know. Anyway, this is Tales from the Ghetto. Tales from the Ghetto. This is not a fairy tale. This is about life in the hood, and it's not always good. Code of the streets and ghetto secrets never to be told. This is a lesson for the young and for the old. There is no love in the streets, so beware. Love is complicated and sometimes unfair. This is a ghetto tale about getting caught up, and don't get it twisted, the streets are rough. Something to get respect, you gotta be tough. Many who live by the gun die so young. All this killing and bloodshed, terrible visions begin to come into my head. A young boy gets mixed up with the wrong crowd. The sounds of gunshots are very loud. As yet, another life is taken from just one bullet. His body lays in the street, and his so-called peeps are nowhere to be found. They left him alone, gone, without a trace. His eyes still wide open, the expression of remorse left on his dead face. His mother cries out, "That's my son." This is a war and a battle that was not won. And that was Tales from the Ghetto, Part 1. By me, Miss Kier. So now, my teacher, this will come up, my poetic Shiro. This one is called Tears of a Black Man. Inspired by this poem, I was doing a flyer for Writer's Block, and I came across, as I was Googling pictures to put on my flyer for Writer's Block, a picture. And so when I looked at this, it's a really nice picture. So this poem came about, and this is called The Tears of a Black Man. The tears of a black man flow like the river. The tears of a black man tell untold stories. They tell stories of a cry of freedom from mental bondage and self-hatred. A cry to be released from the mental chains of oppression. The tears of a black man are often mistaken for weakness, yet the tears of a black man show us true strength. The tears of a black man represent all that he has been through. The tears of a black man represents the battle of self. The tears of a black man represents affliction and conflict from within. The tears of a black man represent all that he ever was and all that he is. It represents what he is capable of being. The tears are in fact an essence. The tears tell a story of generation to generation. Look into the eyes of a warrior, and there you will find the tears of a black man. This is one of the remixes, actually. It's called Too True for You to Handle, the remix. And it took a couple years to write this remix, because the first one we did was, I guess, 3 years before this one. Shout out again to Isis Original, aka Ion, who gave the Writer's Block its name, and like I said, hopefully she will be here in January of this year. This is Too True for You to Handle, the remix to Too Strong, Too True, Too Real. I was too real, and you couldn't handle it. I was too strong, and you couldn't accept that. I was loyal and dedicated, and you didn't appreciate that. I have moved on, and now you want to know. I was fed up, and now I'm listening to a new song. I'm no longer feeling revived. I wanted things to work out. Honestly, I tried. I have learned my lesson, and I'm taking it all in stride. I found a new love, and now he wants me back. Endless calls to my cell, got my telephone ringing non-stop. And I have to
me?
Yes.
So I have to tell you a little story. This whole poetry thing for me started when I was 10 years old. And so maybe I'm 2 years older now. But anyway, you never know how you're going to arrive at a point. These two buddies of mine, we did the, what is it, People for Progress?
People's Organization for Progress, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's an empowerment group up in the North Irvington area. And when I was in high school, I was in Somerville High. There weren't that many of us. Out of 283 that graduated, there were 20 blacks, 13 girls, 7 boys. So we had our own sense of empowerment back then. So it just brings it all to a focal point. I am a dentist by trade, but my avocation is poetry. And I'm trying to move that around to where I write poetry and it's become a real, huge, important part of my life. So I went to the Geraldine R. Dodge Poetry Fest. And the last 2 times I went, I did an open mic reading, and that was it. I was determined to make this a part of that weekend for myself because it's something I wanted to do. There's a lot of things that I had to do, but I said I want to be a part of this. So I went in the morning, I did the open mic on Saturday. I was walking through the lobby just trying to experience it and to glean what I needed to from it. I'm walking across the lobby at NJ Pack and Mr. Amiri Baraka was talking to somebody. I had my camera and I just turned around, pulled it out, took a picture. Remember that. So I didn't say anything to him. But on Sunday, I came back to do another open mic and I wasn't able to because it got over early. So I walked back over, I said, I'm gonna get a bite to eat. And Mr. Baraka again walked past me, went to the bar to get a drink. I said, you can do this, girl. So what I did was I walked up to him, I said, can I buy that for you? It allowed me to sit down with him and speak to him. What you need to know about that experience is that the poets are pretty free. They have different venues and you get to go one-on-one on top of them and speak to them and talk to them. Some, you know, are a little aristocratic, but for the most part, they are listening to you too. So that was my PowerPoint. I had my chat book ready. I gave him my chat book. He said, you need to sign this for me. So I signed it. We had our little moment. For me, that was gargantuan because one of the people that I revere very highly in poetry, I was able to make that contact. So from that experience, remember the photo that I took? I wrote this piece. I went back on the internet and his publicist, I spoke with her because I said, now that I have this piece written, I want to present it to him. He and his wife were having a reading with some musicians the next week in Newark at a place called the Blue Mirror, which was a really lovely facility. If you all get a chance to, you should go there. It's small, it's intimate, but it's really wonderful because it's ours. So anyway, I went back and I presented it to him, and then this other piece that I wrote for some couples that I knew that really had this great sense of love. So I'm going to read both of them to you. But the one for Mr. Baraka, and I say Mr., we always want to use these first names like Barack or Obama, and we fail to give it the respectful nature that we need to for these people that are revered. So it's called Today, and it's written to Mr. Amiri Baraka, the conscience, the knowing one, who dares to speak for the least of us. There is a thought to be shared in the griot knows. He was given to task to say it. The phoenix soars. The phoenix has risen again from the ashes, more fortified on the precipice of his game. He sees, surveys, and determines the landscape's potential. Potential. He instinctively notes the dilution of the perfect microcosm, reduced to ordinary, to nothing special at all, to minutia. The decay of the foundation of the very essence of living for those who lack enough, for those who cannot speak, for those most vulnerable to the constant, untimely, vacuous, negative turns in life. If you want a 4-page accurate history of this, of where it be, listen, listen, listen. Dig. It is present. It is here. To touch, to feel, to research, to know for yourself. And like others chosen in the past, the knowing Newark native has been placed in the position to come again with a word about redemption of the forgotten lives of a victorious people, bringing forth to the conscience of the present a principled thought, emotion, refusing to be buried in the clay, rising above the pool of mediocrity to be redeemed for its worth, right here, right now, today. And you young folks who may not know who that is, please go look it up on the internet so you know who he is. He started out being Leroy Jones from Newark, New Jersey, and then became Amiri Baraka. And he is a voice that is here, that is now, that is walking history. And what I have learned recently, when you feel it inside that you want to speak to someone about things that you want to know, do it right now. Don't wait on it. And you'd be surprised that those folks you place here are really right here with you and will spend the time, because after a certain point in your life, it's all about the legacy and what you give to those that are coming behind you. So I had my wonderful history moment. If it never happens again, I did it. I did it. And I'm happy for it. Now there seem to be some people that are in love here. So this is going to be for you. I have a mentor who is my father in dentistry. I have 2 classmates that got married. They met each other in my class. So I've had an opportunity to see them all the way and know truly what love is. You only see a small picture of what love is when you look on television. But true love goes like a heartbeat, and it's up and down. And sometimes it does go all the way down and come all the way back up the QRST waves. So sticking together through all of that is what truly love means for me. And when you look around now, you look at your parents, you look at your grandparents, you look at the budding love that you may have for yourself, then you will begin to understand what love is. And it's all about being there and staying there. This piece is called Together, Inseparable as One. And it is dedicated to the couples who know just what it means to be one. I feel your presence as you enter the room. We breathe the same sweet breath of air as we share our morning cup of joe. You know my mood without my speaking a word. Your touch is tender as it strokes my hand. You find a special place behind my ear to kiss the boredom away. I wonder how I ever lived without you. You consume my thoughts when I am away from you. You place a smile on my lips at the mere existence of your physical being. You are the Alpha and Omega of my love. You give me warmth. I give you love. You give me peace. I anoint you with joy. I stand every day for your honor. You fortress us against any adversity. I am smitten with you and you know it. I am comforted by your unspoken syllables. You let me speak for your desires. We have cleaved to each other in the center of a radiant core. Together, inseparable as one. God bless you all.